Hello, y'all. This is the last day of the week. Because tomorrow I'm taking a day off from the vlogging. It kind of helps. I enjoy taking at least one day off. Because it gives me, I do my review of my values and also of my newsletter too. So yeah, I don't overwhelm myself too much with too much other things to do. So last day you'll be with me until Monday. So let's get right into it. I wanted to talk about today about what I'm going to name as intense relationships. In intense relationships, the definition I'm kind of going for are, and this is going to be off the cuff, and I'm just trying to define it for myself, is connections we have with people that are forged from intense hardships. I use intense again, and yeah, intense hardships and maybe intense suffering. And why I want to talk about intense relationships because these are almost the most profound relationships that beings can have with each other. And this kind of was brought up when I was talking to my Christian friend today, and how she felt about the pe- other brothers and sisters that she sees as, well, other followers that she considers as brothers and sisters, and how she feels this almost intense bond with them. Uh, whenever now she has a whole background on it for herself, um, and one kind of where I want to unpack it is, so first you can say, "Hey, oh, she's lying," but I don't think so. Oh, because as one thing she told me about is what Christians do, the mission trips. So they go out to different parts of the world and they spread the word of God, word of Jesus. And what's interesting about these mission trips is that uh, they're to places, from my understanding, they're the places that are quite, that don't believe in God, but sometimes are hostile towards the word of God and also of Christian followers as well. So she talked about how it was their faith in God that got them through the experience of that mission trip, and that many people whose faiths were faltering uh, had to be sent home. Not necessarily a failure, but just a hiccup. Oh, it's a signpost that their faiths weren't strong enough in God and Jesus, and that maybe need to rethink how they approach their relationship with God. But after these mission trips are done, the people who do stay within the mission trips, who do create a have this relationship with God and Jesus, and then share it with those other people. That's their our connection between other people. Well, they gain some kind of intuition, not intuition, but one, they gain this intense relationship between each other, but they also gain an intense relationship to other people who have also, oh, let's say, found God or Jesus, or have devout faith in God or Jesus. As she talks about how she can tell within like the first 5, 10, 15 seconds of meeting someone on their faith in God and Jesus, and if they are true believers. And I think it has to do with the experiences she had over in the mission trip, and experiencing other people who had such intense faith in God and Jesus. Yes, and that's kind of the basis of the intense relationship. Another example I would give out for this as well is another example I would give for intense relationships, and that kind of correlate with her experiences, is soldiers who go to war. So let's just take the Vietnam War, for example. When soldiers of the same unit went to Vietnam and suffered the horrible tragedies and hardships and suffering and just intensity of war. Intensity is too little of a word to use in this situation, but I hope I'm communicating clearly enough of the devastation that you find in war, are knowing that those people in your unit might not survive, that a lot of them will die, and whenever you're going through war, have died, and you don't know if you're gonna die, and the only person that's keeping you alive is the person right next to you, and if they die, then you just gotta keep going, and because other people are relying on you to save their lives and save your lives. And that creates such an intense relationship and bond between those people. I mean, those soldiers that let's just say my grandfather was in the Vietnam War as well. The people he went into war with were some of his best friends for the rest of his life, and they were practically family to him. And I can't speak for him, but I can see situations where a Vietnam veteran goes through these experiences, creates these intense emotional bonds with others, and as they get out of the war and they're walking through the rest of their lives, if they find someone else who has went to war or has went to Vietnam or Vietnam War and has experienced these tragedies, within the first 15 seconds, I bet they'll know. And if they do know, and they do have went to war, or have went to Vietnam, that those two will, even if it's only 15, they've met for only 15 seconds, they already have this intense emotional bond between each other that you can't get with just time alone. You can go, my argument would be, you can go, your whole life knowing someone and being in someone's life and still not have the intense emotional bonds you'd get from my first example with the mission trips and the second example of going to war and these Vietnam veterans, because what they go through is suffering and hardship seems to intensify the bonds we have with people. And I think that's my main argument, is that suffering and hardship intensifies the bonds we have with others. So that person, let's just say so a person can know someone for the rest of their lives and not have these intense relationships because they haven't went through the immense suffering and hardship with the other person, and they're never going to get at that emotional bond. But if you have within the first like 15 seconds of meeting someone, you can connect with them and almost instantly. Because you know they went what they went through, and they know what you went through, even though they don't know the exact details. The emotion and feeling is there, and there's this emotional, empathetic connection you make with them that already knows, hey, I understand what you went through. And that's why in the first 15 seconds, or even quicker than that, you can create a bond with someone. And I'm going to use that for my book. Definitely, because as for my book, one of the core tenets is love, and it's love with other people, right? Love for other people is empathy, and the greatest kind of empathy is the one you get from these intense relationships. And these intense relationships are produced from intense experiences with other people. So yeah, I hope you liked this video. Like and subscribe if you like this video. It doesn't matter. Or I'd be doing this as whether anyone was listening or not. So thank you if you are listening. So, and I hope to see you guys on Monday. Toodles.